Okay, so today I'm finally going to do it. I'm going to share with you every single piece of curriculum that we use in our homeschool. This isn't really the way I normally do videos, so I have no idea how this is going to turn out, but I do get a lot of questions on my channel about what do we use, so I figured it was time that I had better just make this video. My oldest daughter is 10, so she would be in 5th grade right now if she were in school. So some of these resources are going to be at a 4th or 5th grade level, but some of them we do as a whole family with my younger kids who are 5-year-old twins. So you'll see some resources that can be used for like the whole elementary school age level, and you'll see something specifically for 4th or 5th grade. And for the twins who are 5, we're not really doing a specific curriculum. We're just teaching them the basics, simple addition and subtraction right now, and the letter sounds, and we're starting, simple phonics. But in this video, we're just going to talk about what we're doing with my older daughter. So I hope this comes out okay. This isn't normally the kind of thing I do, but let's get started. So I figured we'll start with language arts, and like a lot of homeschool families, that's probably where we have the most curriculum that we do. Our main number one thing that we do most is essentials in writing. This is our 2nd year using that program, and we really love it and plan to continue it. So that is the first thing pretty much that we do every single morning, about four times a week. We could actually probably cut that down to 3 times. We do 1 lesson a day, and we'll probably be finished with it maybe around April. So we probably could have spread it out a little bit more. But what Essentials in Writing is a program that teaches grammar and writing skills. And the kids will watch a short video for each lesson. So you don't have to do any prep. You don't have to do anything other than print out the worksheets and get the worksheets that go with the lesson, and then just, set your child up to watch the video. The videos are pretty short, somewhere around 5, maybe 8 minutes long, depending on the topic. And what I like about it is that they're very small, little bite-sized things. So you do 1 thing per lesson. It's not like a big long lesson with a bunch of things to do. So that really works for my daughter because she doesn't want to sit through a long lesson with like 10 worksheets or something. So first half of the year, the last 2 years has been more like grammar. And then the second half of the year is more writing, like writing paragraphs, writing essays, that kind of thing. But even when it gets to the essay writing, it'll have that broken out into chunks. So each lesson is a different part of 1 essay. So it's spread out. And I really like that approach because it helps kids to just focus on 1 task at a time. And we really like that program. So we do that every morning, and eventually they also have Essentials in Literature. I think that starts at the middle school level, so maybe next year we'll be adding that in too. But I really like the program. I really like the videos. I really like the way the teacher explains everything. I like that I can print the worksheets at home just 1 at a time. You could print the whole workbook. You could actually also have it printed and sent to you if you don't want to use a whole lot of ink and paper at home. But for me, I just print out the worksheets that we need each day. Okay, and then next, what we also do is Scholar Within. So this is another online program, but this one requires a little bit more parent involvement. There are different activities incorporated with the program. They have reading fluency, they have spelling and vocabulary, they have reading comprehension, and there's some other little parts to the program, but what we mostly use it for is the reading fluency and the reading comprehension. So this is another program that is online, but it also has worksheets, and you can either print them out at home, or you can get like the first 10 weeks of the program sent to you. So you get a box like this, and my daughter likes to doodle all over the box while we're doing it. But anyway, so it has different books in it. This is the Reading Fluency Training, the parent book. So it has things like this, drills, and the kids read the drill, and it tells you which one to do. You know, you do like one drill a week and work up to the harder ones, and you have to time them and mark off like how many mistakes they made and what word they made it to, and then they keep track and see their improvement over time. And that just takes like a couple minutes. And we do this program probably like 3 days a week. You're supposed to do it 5 days a week, and it's broken out like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But since we don't use all of the parts of the program, 3 days a week has really been enough for us. And then the reading comprehension part, which I'm trying to find in here. Well, the reading passages are all online. And so you read them, or your child's supposed to read them, and then they're supposed to watch it again with the like AI person reading it. So that helps with like fluency and also helping them understand the pronunciation. So basically they read it through 2 times. Some of them are really short, like poems or little biographies. Some of them are a bit longer, but nothing too long. And then a day or 2 later, they answer these questions in their book. Again, you can see my daughter just loves to doodle all over the pages. But so you get a book like this, and then also they take notes. So there's find a blank page. So they also do this. So there's different types of note taking every time they do a reading passage, and it tells them like how to take the different types of notes, and then they review their notes before they do the reading comprehension questions. So there's a lot to the program. It's kind of involved, but once you get used to it and start doing it more regularly, you figure out the parts that you don't really need to do, and you can, it really doesn't take that much time. But I like it because Essentials in Writing, we've got the grammar and we've got the writing practice, and then this is like the other piece, the reading comprehension and the fluency and the spelling and vocab, which we do use, but for some reason, I don't know, I think I got the 4th grade box at the time when I ordered it, and I should have gotten the 5th grade box, because even though my daughter, and we'll get into that in a minute, isn't really the best speller, for some reason she has known how to spell most of the words in this program so far. So we have kind of just like, I've made her each week when the spelling words come out, like tell me if she can spell them, and if she spells them all, I don't waste time. You know, there's nothing more to do, in my opinion, than that. Okay, so we've got Essentials in Writing, we've got Scholar Within, and then as I mentioned, she has been struggling with spelling. So I recently started her on Nessie, the Nessie Reading and Spelling Program. So this is an online program that is kind of geared more towards younger kids, and it can seem a little babyish, which my daughter complains about. It helps that her brother and sister kind of like looking at the cartoon things, so they'll sit with her and she feels like she has some company while she does it, which gets her to do it a little more. But I've already seen improvement. There's a lot of like diagnostic tools that come with it. It's kind of one of those programs that's more designed for teachers, but so it gives you a lot to look at. Like they periodically reassess so you can see the progress that your child is making. And I've already seen some progress. She's made about a year's growth in spelling so far, and we've only been doing it maybe a month. So I think it's a great program. I highly recommend it. I don't know how long I'll get her to continue using it, but I'm hoping at least by the end of the year we can see a little bit more progress. So we do that. I've only been having her do that like a couple times a week, just you know, for some extra practice. And then last year, I also got a bunch of books from the Critical Thinking Company. I did a video for them last spring. So they sent me a whole bunch of books. And so I will get more into the Critical Thinking Company in a bit. But I also have this book here. It's Language Smarts, and it's a huge thick book, and it's just like worksheets. There's not really any like instruction really, but so we started this because I noticed, Essentials in Writing doesn't cover like every single solitary thing, and I always get worried about like leaving gaps. So I noticed this book, this is the 4th grade version, talks about syllables and prefixes and suffixes and analogies and spelling. It's a big, big book. And then, then back here, it's got more writing stuff. So, it's got verb tenses, irregular verbs, adjectives, prepositions. So a lot of this is covered in Essentials in Writing, but some of it I haven't seen. So I decided we're going to start going through this book, which we've started, and just kind of like do the worksheets and the lessons of things that I haven't seen be covered yet in her other curriculum. And then another thing that we're not currently doing, because it's sort of just a one-time thing, but we did do this last summer right before the start of this school year, is Readerific. And this is a reading comprehension program, but it's so much more than that. It is designed to teach kids how to visualize. And so when they're reading, they're being able to create pictures in their minds, which is a skill that's kind of been lost on our kids. They just have so much technology. There's so much screen time that their brains are not understanding how to create their own pictures. And so when they read something, if there's no pictures, they have a hard time comprehending it and remembering what they read, because they don't know how to create their pictures in their own minds. So the Readerific program is a program that teaches kids how to visualize. And then by teaching them that skill, which is so, so important, it not only improves their reading comprehension, but it improves their following directions. And there's also a spelling component. And she has a bunch of other really useful smaller programs on her website. We haven't gotten to the math yet, but I just started her math program. And also there's writing, there's just a bunch of other like smaller programs, but the main one, the reading comprehension program, is what we did last summer. And my daughter jumped up 3 grade levels in reading comprehension just by doing that 12-week program. So I highly recommend it. It is on the expensive side, but I think it's an investment that is super, super worth it. So I definitely recommend checking that one out. I do have a discount for that if you're interested, and is in the video description. And then we also teach cursive, and this isn't something I really was going to make her do, but she actually asked and wanted to learn cursive. Beforehand, we had a book from AOP, from Horizons. It was a penmanship book, but I didn't like it because you could rip the pages out, but it was like an open book like this. So what I found that I really like better is this, because it's spiral, and you get to pick left hand or right hand when you order it. And then so like the pages go like this, and I just think that's so much better, because when you're writing, you don't have that book flopped open, so this is called Conquering Cursive, and I have the links for all of these things in the video description, so you can find them if you're interested. But anyway, so I just got this a little while ago, and it's going well, so we do that. And then the last thing we do for language arts is just make sure that she's reading. So she gets to pick the book as long as it's, on the right reading level. And then she reads, throughout the week. We set aside times, and then when she finishes the book, we move on to the next book. So that is our language arts program in a nutshell. So next, let's talk about math. Now, math is my favorite subject to teach. Math was what I majored in college, although that was a long time ago. I did also study math after undergrad. I went to school. I was going to get my master's, but then the life got in the way. I never finished it. But anyway, math is my favorite subject. So I love to talk about math. Now, let me see. Okay, so our main math curriculum is dimensions. We're on the 4th grade version of it, and there's 2, so there's A and B right now, but I couldn't find where I put that, so here's the last year one. And she would be in 5th grade, but what ended up happening, and I recommend if you're going to use dimensions, really it's best if you know that at the beginning. I'm going to start the twins on it soon, but I was looking through, and it's hard to choose where to start because there's a lot of stuff they already know, and then there's a couple things they don't, and I'm like, am I going to buy a whole book just for a few chapters? Probably I am. They are pretty inexpensive though. I think just the textbook, because their soft cover is $14, and then there's also a teacher's manual. There's also a book of worksheets. I got the teacher's manual one time, and then I stopped because I really don't feel I need it for this level. But, you know, if you aren't comfortable teaching math, they do have a whole teacher's manual that tells you exactly what to do. But anyway, we really like it. I just wish I had started her at it in the beginning, because what ended up happening is our program that we were using covered things in a different order. So when I was looking through to pick where to start, I found, you know, there were going to be gaps, and I won't always worry about gaps. So we've been kind of, you know, going fast, and I think we'll be all caught up by the start of 6th grade, as long as we do some finish up in the summer. But we've been able to skip over a lot of stuff, and then, well, anyway, so this is what the textbook is like, though. You can see it's really colorful, and you can write in it if you want to. Try not to, just because I want to use it again, but you know, it's really colorful, engaging, affordable. I like the way they present the material. There's a lot of like real life examples, so they can understand math and how it applies to real life, instead of just having them do a bunch of examples with no like real world tie-in. You know what I mean? So dimensions. Oh, and if you weren't comfortable teaching dimensions, another cool thing is they do have videos, so you have to pay extra for them, but you could get the video program, and then it would be kind of like Essentials in Writing, where your child would watch the video on how to do it and then do their work in the book. So that is an option. I don't use that, but I think it would probably be great, because these are really, really good, high quality math program. I really do like it. We also got Life of Fred. So this is Life of Fred. And if you haven't heard of this one is Christian, even though it doesn't really tell you it is. They do talk about God and things like that in it. So just a heads up, if you were looking for only secular options, don't pick this one. But if you are fine with Christian and secular, we do kind of a mix. This is really fun. This is a really fun story. I think the story is what is the big draw of it. And you can see this is not colorful. It's all black and white. But what I like is we do it together. My daughter likes to read it for some reason out loud. So she's getting some reading practice in. And it's interesting because it kind of just like introduces the math concepts as part of the story. And it only has like a few practice problems at the end of each chapter. And I feel like you kind of have to start this one at the beginning or you're not going to understand the story. So we're on D for dogs, which is like, there's A, B, C, D. So I don't know if that's kindergarten, first, second, third grade, or if this would be fourth grade. But even if you're older, you want to hear the story, you kind of got to start at the beginning. And this goes all the way up, I think, to like high school. I wouldn't use this as my only math curriculum. I think some people probably do. I just don't think it's enough, but I think it is definitely a great way to keep kids interested in math and to reinforce those real world applications. And it also it introduces things earlier, like algebra and things like that, which is kind of cool. Just gets them like understanding what it is without actually making them do algebra, if that makes any sense. So we do this, but we don't do this as often. So, maybe once a week, maybe twice a week. My daughter would probably like to do it more often and get rid of dimensions, but that's not happening. And then the other thing we do is Prodigy Math. So that's online. It's I've reviewed it on my channel. It's a game, like an RPG game, kind of like Pokemon, and you battle to collect different pets. And in the battles, questions will pop up that are math questions, and you have to get the question right in order to refill your magic meter and continue the battle. And there's all sorts of parent analytics, and I really like that kind of thing. I always like to check and see, how much progress she's making. I have her do that about twice a week, and you can set a goal of like how many questions they need to get right. So we do that. We just do about 10 questions, but she usually ends up doing more, not realizing that she's already finished. But so I'd say she probably answers about 30 questions a week on Prodigy. And it's nice because it'll tell you if they're having trouble in one area, and then you can watch videos or print out worksheets to try to help them with that concept. I just like it as an extra way to just make sure there's not any gaps. So we use that. And then I wanted to mention before I forget, I also had her do 2 assessments recently. They were $25 each. They were all fully online, one for math and one for reading. And gosh, for some reason, I cannot remember what they were called, but I will put the links in the video description because it's just another way for me to make sure she's on track, feel comfortable, that she's on grade level, even though I know homeschooling, it's not like so super important, but us parents, we still just want to make sure we're doing things right. So I'll put the links for those 2 assessments that we did in the video description because I cannot remember what they were called. Okay, so and then lastly for math, the Readerific program that I was talking about earlier, they also have a multiplication tables program, and that one's only 18 sessions, so like probably 3 or 4 weeks you could be done with it. And we started doing that, and it is literally like 3 minutes long, I think it takes, so we just did it quick in the morning. And it's supposed to help kids just be able to visualize and remember their multiplication facts, which is something that I think is important and really helpful. So we're doing that too, but it's really quick. It doesn't take up a lot of time. Okay, so for science, we had been doing mystery science because, I don't know, I just hadn't felt that a real whole curriculum was needed. We also have lots of books we get from the library and library book sales, just bags and bags of books and different topics. My older daughter's really interested in animals and nature. She does a nature class once a week. On Wednesdays, she's gone for the whole day. We've been doing that for years. So I don't know. We did a lot of experiments and things like that. And we did mystery science, which we really liked. She really liked that. And the younger kids liked it too. And I'll keep it for them, but I think she's kind of exhausted all of the available units that she was interested in and that were age appropriate. Some of the ones for younger kids are just too simple. And some of the older kid ones are things she just wasn't interested in. So we're kind of done with mystery science as much as I loved it. And then, so what we started doing, I did a lot of research before I came to this decision. So this is called Building Foundations of Scientific Understanding. And I think this is great. Well, one of the reasons that I was drawn to it is because it is for kindergarten through 8th grade. So I can do it with the younger kids and my older daughter all at the same time. Even if I have to do it again with them later, at least, it's really hard when you're homeschooling kids of different ages because it's what do you do with the little ones when you're trying to teach the older ones. So I feel like this is great because we can all learn it together. And even if I have to teach them again later, at least they're sitting there, we're doing it together. So this is the first book. And if you start later, like we are, it still tells you to buy the first book, the K through 2 level, because it's kind of building the whole foundation. And that's another thing. It was hard for me because I was like, okay, well, what grade level do I pick? Because I don't want to miss anything, those learning gaps. So this is great because it's going to cover absolutely everything. And then we can get the second book. And it's going to look kind of unpretty. There's no colors, no pictures. But, and this one does require parent there's a lot of prep. Let's put it that way. You've got to read the chapter yourself and then take what they tell you as to how you're going to teach the lesson. But they do have an online resource that you can sign up for. And it's got all sorts of like helpful things like different parents have submitted, as well as I guess the company's created some too. I'm not really sure. I haven't looked into it too much, but they've got like slideshow presentations and things that you can use in your lesson. And it tells you, exactly how to do it. And there's just like everything in this. Let's see. It's got basic like the overview of science and what science all is and all of that. And then there's the nature of matter. That's one unit, and it's about organizing things in categories: solid, liquids, and gases, matter, magnets, magnetic fields, air pressure, rocks, minerals, crystals, things like that. And then there's life science. And that one's got plant and animal kingdoms, life cycles, what are species, adaptations and survival, animal skeletons, all sorts of stuff like that. And then we've got physical science, engineering and technology. So we've got sounds, vibrations, and energy, concepts of energy, inertia, friction. And then there's earth and space science. We've got gravity, Earth's rotation, day and night, landforms, time, seasonal changes, rocks and fossils. So there is a ton in here, and it's going to cover like a few years probably. I don't know. It's a really big book, and it does take time. But I'm happy I found it. I'm hoping we'll be able to stick with it and then get to the next level. But this is what we're currently doing, and so far so good. Although I do prefer more open and go things. I think it's really important that we do this program. I'm just really excited about it. Okay, and then next is social studies. And if you watched my video I did recently about picking a social studies curriculum, I said that we ended up going with Notgrass History, and that is true. We did. And it's another one of those programs that I'm really happy about because I can do it with all the kids. And again, I might have to do it with the younger ones later again when they get older, but at least it gives them something to do. And they're learning, even if, they may not retain it all. But it's one of those ones that you can do for elementary students, and it doesn't really matter so much what grade level. So I figured I'd start with the world geography. So it's our great big world. And I love, love, love this textbook. It's beautiful. Like, it's awesome. And that's our bookmark. I'm learning so much. The kids are learning so much. It's pretty. It has landmarks and all sorts of like cool pictures, and it's covers the whole world. It starts off with the Arctic, Antarctica, then just the Middle East, Africa, Europe, Asia, on and on. So, you're going to cover the whole world with this. And what I like about this is this one, I don't think any of the other ones do, but this one has coloring books that go along with it. So the pictures in here are, you can see they've been coloring a lot. The pictures in here go along with each lesson. So like it's a picture of something in the lesson, and then I don't know, it gives them something to do while I'm reading them the textbook. And then you also got another book of folk tales and songs, And they even have a link on their website where you, like, it'll read or sing the songs, and they're from like all different parts of the world. So that's really cool. And then there's also an atlas workbook. So there's like activities to do in here. And then there's a lesson review. These are just like multiple choice to make sure, you know, they were paying attention. And then there's also literature that they recommend to go along with it. We're currently on this book right now. And so how we do it is the kids all sit around the table and they do their coloring, and I read the textbook and we talk about that. And then we do the questions and the workbook, and then they finish their coloring and I read a couple of chapters of this. And I look forward to this. This is probably my favorite thing that we do of all the curriculum all week. We do it once or twice a week because it does take kind of a long time, but I think everyone likes it a lot. Just a warning, this is another Christian curriculum, and this one definitely is, you know, going to mention the Bible and things like that in it. So if that's not something you're looking for, don't get this one. But I think it's great. I really love it. I'm excited. I'm definitely going to get the U.S. history and U.S. geography books next. So I definitely recommend this one. Okay, and then last, there's just a couple little extra things that we do, and I hope I'm not forgetting anything. I probably am, but well, it's already a lot, right? Sounds like a lot. But actually, you know, it doesn't really take up that much time. I'd say Wednesdays we don't do anything because my daughter, my 10-year-old, is gone for the whole day, and next year probably all 3 kids are going to go to that program. So that leaves us only 4 days. Mondays and Thursdays we're home the most, so probably we spend around 3 hours on those days. And then we probably spend about 2 hours on Tuesdays and Fridays, and give or take, you know, it could be a little more, it could be a little less. But it doesn't take up like so much time. I just remembered one that we just started. My daughter wanted to learn Japanese, but I'm not yet sure how serious she is about it. And, you know, as homeschool moms get really excited and we want to buy all the curriculum, but I thought, let me wait and see how much of an interest this really is. So we started Duolingo, which you can do for free. They do, of course, have an upgrade you can pay for, but if you can just do it for free and get started. If you've never learned a language ever, you start to very basic right at the beginning. So I started doing that with my daughter. I don't know if your kids are like this, but if I want her to be interested in something and actually do it, I've got to sit there. So I figured, well, I'm learning a little Japanese too. So, but we started that just this week, actually, and she said it was really fun and really likes it. So we're going to keep going with that and see how it goes. And then if she really seems very interested, I might look into a more robust language program, but that's what we're using right now. And then the other thing that she does that she's been doing for a while is synthesis teams. I know if you've seen my synthesis tutor video, that's a math program, and she had been doing that in the past, but this year we decided not to continue with that because she's been doing synthesis teams, and there's only so many hours in the day and only so much money that her parents have to spend. And synthesis teams is a little pricier, but what it is a kind of, I don't know how you describe it, almost like esports maybe. But basically it's a bunch of kids and they're online together and they're playing a game. And these are games that were created by Synthesis, and they're designed to teach kids how to work together as a team, to teach leadership and communication and collaboration and all of that. And there are several different games that it cycles through, and it's an hour each session. And if you sign up, you can do as many sessions as you want. We do 1 a week. They also have discussion sessions, which are designed to teach kids like critical thinking skills and how to discuss a topic. And those are a half hour. And again, you can do as many as you want. Once a week is pretty much what we do. So she does that, and I think it's really amazing. And you get reports and how your child is doing in the program. And it just gives them a chance, since, you know, it's something that a lot of times homeschool kids might not have as much access to. So it's a really great way for them to teach or to learn those kind of skills. So she does that too. And then last, I had mentioned that we got that big box from the Critical Thinking Company last year. So just for something fun and extra, we do some of their extra little books, usually like once a week. This is her favorite one. I love this. This is so fun. Critical Thinking Detective. And what this one is you got like 4 suspects, and then it's going to tell you everything you need to know to solve the crime. It's all here, and you just got to read it and figure it out. And it's really fun. Some of them are kind of hard. Even when we do them together, we haven't always gotten them right, but it's just a really cool activity that just helps kids learn how to use their thinking skills. And that one is really fun. It's definitely our favorite. And then we also have really been liking this one, Critical Thinking for Reading Comprehension. And this is like you know, you're going to read the story and the pictures that go along with that. And then they ask you questions about the story. And they're, you know, like tricky kind of questions. And you have to find, you know, the answers within the story based on what you read. And then there's also things like these charts, you know, where you have like the things on one side and in here, and you mark like who goes with what based on what you read. So we do these too. I'd say like once a week. She just picks. There's quite a few other ones we got. So that's another thing we do. And I think that's it for curriculum. If I missed something, then I'm sorry, but I think that's enough, right? And then the other thing I wanted to recommend is how do I keep track of all of this? So I have been using, this is my second year using it now, Homeschool Panda, and it's an online homeschool like scheduler thing. And it's not the best, but I got used to it, and I've already input everything, and I don't have the time to go find something else. It's fine. I put in everything that we're doing, all of the, you know, courses and subjects, and you pick how many days a week, and you pick the time of the day, and you pick how many weeks you want it to go for, and then it just repopulates every week. So, you know, instead of having to write something out and keep writing, this one you can just copy paste, and it's fine. And then when they do the thing, you can check it off, and if you've got to move stuff around, you can drag and drop it to different days of the week. So that is what I use. It's not perfect. It is slow sometimes, and there are just some little things that I wish were better about it, but I'm not sure if something better exists. I did do a review on my channel about a year ago about a bunch of these different ones, and each one had like something missing. I could not find the perfect one that did everything I wanted it to do. Maybe I will in the future, but anyway, that is what I use. And every Monday I print it out and I put it on the fridge, our schedule for the week. And that's one of the parts I don't like. It's not the prettiest, but it's serviceable. And then my daughter checks it off on her list on the fridge, but I also keep track on the computer. So that's how I keep track of it all. And then I do also have a planner because we do a lot of homeschool activities, but that's for another video. So I hope this is everything that you were hoping that it would be. I know I get a lot of questions, so I just really hope this answered some of those questions for you. Of course, if you have any more questions about this or any just general homeschooling question, please let me know in the comments, and I will be happy to answer and try to help you out. You can also always send me an email if you really need some help, and I really do try to answer those. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please let me know. Leave me a comment and tell me that you liked it, or click the like button. I really do appreciate it. And as always, thank you so much for watching.